Please like and subscribe for future content. Number 1. The groan at my door. This happened just this past Saturday, the 28th of March. I was on a long weekend because I had put in for time off to go to SC Comic-Con. I put in for the time long before the rescheduling due to Corona. My PTO started on Thursday and ran through Monday. Starting Thursday night, I was having trouble sleeping. Something just felt off and I had to sleep with my lamp on just to feel comfortable. Well, Saturday night I was up late playing my PS4 when around 2:45 a.m. I started hearing this weird groaning sound right outside my bedroom door. I had my door closed so I wouldn't disturb my parents, and it sounded like it was just on the other side. Now if you read my previous story in Quat, my parents' house and Quat, then you would know about my experience with the attic and the image from the movie. And Quat, The Grudge and Quat. Well, it seemed like Kayako wasn't done with me because the groaning noise sounded exactly like the choking groaning sounds she made, only slower, almost hesitant or confused. I dunno. It was slow like and Quat. Urge. 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 Urge and Quat. This repeated off and on until around 5:30-ish, which is when I noticed I wasn't hearing it anymore. I didn't time it to see how often it occurred during that time, but it seemed to be about 10 to 20 minute intervals. I thought it may have been my dad the first time I had heard it, since he usually goes to bed between 12 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. But I don't know what time he went to bed, since I was in my room with the door closed the whole time, and after I heard it the second time and what it sounded like, I knew it wasn't my parents. I was wholly focused on the game I was playing and wasn't thinking about anything other than that, so I know I wasn't psyching myself out when it started. I didn't feel any other sensations other than a steady, eerie, creepy feeling. I tried to brush it off the first few times, but it persisted. There were 2 times where after I heard it I saw a flash of white in the corner of my left eye. From where I was sitting, it had to have come from my computer monitor, like a light suddenly reflected, or my monitor flickered on for a split second, but my computer had been off all day and my monitor shuts itself off when there's no signal. I also had my main room light on, so it was pretty bright in there, so a flash would have had to have been really bright to see it. I didn't look in that direction to affirm anything because I didn't want to possibly see something I'd regret. I kept looking at the bottom of my door though, expecting black hair to start creeping under it at any moment. Needless to say, I didn't sleep at all that night. I didn't even leave my room to use the bathroom until about 8:30 when there was light out. I was worried a bit about my parents since their room is right next to mine, but I couldn't bring myself to open the door. Real brave of me, I know. Though I did hear them snoring a few times, which made me feel better. I didn't hear anything Sunday or Monday night, but I still had to sleep with my lamp on to feel comfortable. Number 2. The thing in the back of my bedroom. I've always known something was weird about the back bedroom at my dad's house. I lived there from being a month old until I was in my 20s. It was for the most part me, my dad and my 2 brothers, as my mum and dad split up when I was in year 4. That's when things got bad, I guess. So, a little about the house. I'm not exactly sure how old it is, but there are the remains of air raid shelters buried under some of the neighbors' gardens. Just to give a suggestion of how old it could be. Inside the house, the stairs are in the middle of the house, splitting up the living room and dining room. From the landing you turn right to get into my dad's bedroom, turn left to get into my brother's bedroom, and go through my brother's room. To get to the back bedroom, which was my bedroom, it was small, dropped down a level, and the roof was slanted. Growing up I always felt watched, uneasy, just generally not comfortable in the back bedroom, I'd tell my dad, but he is a very stern, no-nonsense kind of man, so just dismissed it. Then I started getting cuts all over my chest and arms in the night. I cut my nails really short and it still happened every night. They stung really bad too. I questioned my brothers, just in case, and obviously they asked me why they would bother doing something so odd. One day there was a butterfly in my bedroom. Just to understand why this was a problem, the windows in our house didn't open, and the journey from the back or front door to the back bedroom would have been nearly impossible. On top of that, I am absolutely terrified of butterflies, have been my whole life. It's like whatever lived in there knew and was taunting me. In the end, I refused to sleep in the back bedroom anymore. I stayed in my dad's bedroom and he moved into the living room. Even when I moved out of the room, I felt like it was watching me when I was on the landing going into the front bedroom. I closed the back bedroom door and it died down. Nothing happened again for years. Fast forward to my 20s, I became a mother, and after I got my own place, we visit my dad at the house all the time. We're all close. My dad started doing odd jobs on the house after I moved to my own place to keep busy. One of the jobs involved making a corridor from the landing to the back bedroom. During this process, the back bedroom was used as a storage room and the door was jammed open. That's when I instantly felt watched whenever I went up the stairs again, but with the new corridor it felt like whatever it was could get closer. I tried bringing it up with my dad again, and again he dismissed it. One night I was taking the youngest, around 2 years old at the time, upstairs to sleep in the front bedroom, and when she got to the landing she looked down the corridor and pointed and started crying while saying "En quat, monster, en quat." This happened a few times. Sometimes she would point to the top of the stairs and cry, like it was waiting for us. Makes me shudder just thinking about it now. My dad's next project was turning my brother's old bedroom into a proper guest room for my daughters, so they didn't kick him out of his room when they went for sleepovers. Before the bunk beds got put up, the girls wanted to and quat, camp out and quat, in the middle bedroom, so we blew up air beds and I was settling them for the night. The doorway for this room was right next to the back bedroom door still wedged open, and the door for the new room wasn't in yet. I just knew it was watching me, but I kept my cool for the sake of the girls who seemingly didn't notice. They were 4 and 6 now. As I'm crouched down kissing my youngest on the forehead goodnight, I felt something grab my top and yank me to the ground. I was so scared. The girls asked me if I was okay and I reassured them that I'd just lost my balance. This happened around July 20th. I haven't really been to my dad's since because of the pandemic and lockdowns, so haven't experienced anything since then. Although my dad doesn't believe it, I finally mentioned the incidents to my mum, who lived in the house for a number of years, and she confirmed she always felt scared of the back bedroom. Side story. A different experience I had at my dad's. I don't think it was related to the back bedroom because it was when the back bedroom door was still closed. I was pregnant with my eldest and I was still living at my dad's. Me and my partner had a row and I was upset. I decided to go downstairs and was curled up on the sofa in the front room, and at some point around 11 I'd fallen asleep. My dad left me on the sofa, turned off the TV, lights, etc. At around 2 a.m. I was woken up by someone shouting really loud in my ear, to the point my eardrum was ringing. It was a male voice, definitely not my dad or partner, and I don't know what was said, if anything was said at all. I listened out thinking it was probably a drunk walking past the house, mainly to try and calm myself down, but my ear hurt so much. It was angry, but didn't cause as much fear as any of the back bedroom incidents. Number 3. The bunny in the backseat. My son was in his teens. He was very troubled as he had just lost a brother to suicide and mom, me, lost her mind. He had left home and I spent a great deal of time in search of him. I would bring him home only for him to leave again. While on his own, it was a non-stop party. Those were scary days. He would call me sometimes terrified. He had done too much of a drug and I would talk him down. He would tell me he loved me, but wouldn't come home. I digress. He and his best friend often attended raves, of which my generation ushered in and out children or dying in. Anyway, at one of these raves, he noticed a man with a black rabbit head. He thought he was just tripping and continued his activities. Through the night he noticed the rabbit seemed to be everywhere he was and seemed to just stand motionless watching him. It unnerved him, but he still thought it a hallucination. The two boys met a couple of really nice guys that asked for a ride home that night. If you have not been to rave, this would be pretty common. The ecstasy makes people very friendly. You have a sense of unity and connecting. It would be very beautiful if it wasn't induced by a dangerous drug. My son noticed the rabbit seemed to be with the two men. So he thought maybe he wasn't hallucinating after all. Their guest sat in the back seat with the rabbit being sandwiched by the two men. My son drove. He got a really bad feeling. He would glance up and that rabbit would be staring back with black eyes. Not eyes of a mask but living eyes. They chatted with the two men all the way to their destination. When they arrived to drop the men off, they turned to say goodbye and no one was in the back seat. No one ever got out of the vehicle. The men were gone and the rabbit just vanished into thin air. The two boys compared notes trying to make sense of what just happened. They both agreed that there were two men. They both had the same description and name for the men. They confirmed the discussions they were having with the men was the same. They were dumbfounded. They didn't feel anything negative from the men. They also agreed. They seemed almost protective. As they drove home, my son's best friend says, and quote, I don't know if they were ghosts or angels, but they were cool. It was that damn rabbit with them that scared the piss out of me. That's why I would not turn to talk to them because that rabbit was staring back at me. And quote, he laughed and continued and quote, I'm just hallucinating that part though, right? And quote, my son confirmed he too saw it. Their descriptions matched and they both noticed it at the rave. They agreed that the rabbit was something very bad and had bad intentions. They agreed it is pretty far-fetched they had the same hallucination with so many variables. The men appeared at the end of the night. They believe the men asked for the ride to protect them from whatever it is they saw. There are other reports that are not all drug-induced of seeing this thing and all say it's bad. He is even reported to be a glitch seen in certain games. He isn't supposed to be there. He is not part of the program but yet there he is. I've seen him myself in a game with my kids. It was very eerie to say the least.